We are going to be getting our acceleration here with the full size. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be going over a 2022 full-sized Range Rover with the supercharged V8. First and foremost, so a huge shout out and thank you to the Land Rover here in downtown Salt Lake for giving me some time with this full-sized. Check out the inventory in the description down below. Let's pop right into the video. So under the hood, we have a 5-liter supercharged V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 16 around town and then 21 on the highway, with power outputs being 518 horsepower and then 461 pound-feet of torque. Now here is the key fob for this full-sized Range Rover. First off, we got the light button that you can turn lights on or off, which is pretty cool. Anyways, you guys can see here with the body lines here on either side of the hood, and you just have this massive flat hood. You got the Range Rover logo, and then you got the Land Rover logo down below that. I love the grille. And then again, here's a quick look at the headlights themselves. You got the LED accent lights that go around that. I love the coloration down here because it's all body paint. Most of it's body painted, and then just how it kind of goes across. Parking sensors here on the front end. And other than that, you guys can see there's the front. Coming on the side here, we've got two 75mm tires wrapped around 21-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And then you guys can see here the design on the wheels. It's silver for the entire wheel, and it kind of has this nice flowing type look. And then you guys can see we've got Brembo brakes here for the front actually. And then also there's a quick look at the front suspension. I love how this is silver here on the side because it kind of lightens up the overall look of this vehicle, having all of the dark blue. And there's your full side view. So here is the key fob again. You guys can see the logo on the back, and then if we hold this, it'll actually open up the whole hatch system, which is so cool how it all opens up at once. And then we'll pop here into the back. Notice we've got a cargo cover. You've got this so you can charge a device back here if you want. This folds down the seats, and then you have this for the air suspension to raise or lower the rear end, so it makes accessing it a little bit easier. And then notice that underneath here we have the spare tire. Definitely a nice touch, and I recommend putting this in with 2 hands because it's a little bit easier, but you guys can see you can do it with 1 hand. And then when you're done, press that and that'll close up the bottom portion, and then press this and then that'll close the top portion, and there you go. Now let's finish things up here with the rear. So first off, I love the taillight design here on the full size. And then you have your P525 badge, which lets everyone know that you got the supercharged V8. Parking sensors here on the bottom portion. You guys can see here the coverings over the exhaust tips. And other than that, yeah, there's the rear. So here's the door panel in the back. You guys can see you've got leather here at the top, and then you guys can see the dark trim down below, and then more leather down below that. You've got this to adjust the rear seat. This is kind of like a blind spot system for the rear passenger so that you don't open the door if someone's in the blind spot. And then you can see the door handle. I love the look of it. Speakers here for the Meridian sound system, window control just up above. And then here are the seats in the rear. So you can see really nice leather. You got the perforated leather here down the center portion, and I'll pop in so you guys can see legroom is fantastic. Headroom's also great. Got the vents here, got the climate controls. You guys can see all the charging ports down below. Now, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get this with 1 hand. Oh, yes, I can. Woo! Recommend 2 hands though, usually. And then press that and it'll pop open, which is pretty cool. You guys can see, it's this is not leather, but this is nicely padded with leather. Looks pretty great. And popping up, let's head to the front. Now here's the door panel at the front. You guys can see again leather here, and then the darker trim down below, and then more leather down below that. All of your adjustments here for the seats. You do have the memory seat function, door lock and unlock, window controls up above, and then all of your controls for like the mirrors and all that. And then the mirrors do have blind spot monitoring. More speakers here for the Meridian sound system, Range Rover plaque. And then you guys can see here the front seats. Look at the pillow headrest. Really nice leather, and then perforated leather down below that. And then you can see the pedals right there. And, well, there's one more look before we pop in. Here is the steering wheel for the full size. So you can see really nice leather here all around the steering wheel. And then you even have leather and stitching around the airbag cover. Cruise control here on this side with the paddle shifters there and the back. And then you can see you got the controls here for the center stack voice command controls. And then you got the turn signal / light stalk. And then you've got the windshield wiper stalk on the other side. And that's all for the steering wheel area. Now here is the center gauge cluster. You've got speed on the left side, RPMs on the right side. And then if we press that menu button on the steering wheel, it'll pull open this display, which will give you a bunch of different information on the vehicle, media, literally everything. Like anything you want to see on the vehicle is pretty much there in the center stack, and there's that. So here's the center infotainment system. If we pop it into reverse, you guys can see the backup camera with trajectory lights that do turn with the steering wheel. Moving from that to the rest of the infotainment system, you guys can see response time is great, has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and it's just really user-friendly in general. And then notice that you can pop with the camera right there if you want, and yeah, there's the first infotainment system. Now we've got the secondary screen down below. This first section controls all of the climate stuff right here. And notice that you have air recirculation, but also ionized air as well, which is great because right now we're having an inversion here in Utah, so you get nice, clean air. Anyways, you can see down below we've got the seat controls here, so you can turn on the seats. So you've got the heated seat function, and we've got the cold seat function as well. So it's got both, which is definitely a huge plus. And then moving on from that to the vehicle tab, you guys can see here we've got all the different drive modes. So we've got the dynamic program, for example. We've got our eco, and then we've got some off-road modes which we can go into. First one's grass, gravel, snow. We've got mud ruts, sand program, and then we've got rock crawl as well. And then if I actually just push down the dial, then it'll just, so there's two different ways to control this. It'll just keep it in the mode that you're in right now. But yeah, that's all for that portion. And then you can press this in, and then this will let you control the heated and cooled seats, which is a cool little thing. And then press it again, and then it does the climate control. And then if I want to change the fan speed, I press that, and then it'll let me change the fan speed. We've got the shifter here for the 8-speed automatic, and does have the sport mode. That's what the S is for. Stability control right here. We've got our hill descent control, and then we got this for the air suspension to raise and lower it. And then this is the drive mode select, so this thing you click up and down. Low range. We've got our parking brake right there, a couple cup holders. And you can see here at the center console, opening it up, we do get the fridge here, and you guys can see that right now it's cooling things off a little bit. Then we've got the glove box setup, which, boom, open them both up at the same time. You can see that you got storage there, and then down below, so tons of storage space. And then notice there's leather here on the dash. And then this does have a panoramic sunroof here at the top, controls the center for just right there, and that's all. So here's a window sticker for this P525 HSE Westminster. First off, feel free to freeze the frame if you want to read the standard equipment that this one has. And then you guys can see the base price right there, $115,800. And you can see the optional equipment on this particular one. And then there's our total MSRP, $121,810. Let's take it out and see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. There's visibility of the hood, both the mirrors, which do a blind spot, and then throughout the rest of the rear. And let's set off. We are setting off here in the full size, and the full size with the V8. Super exciting stuff. Seriously. First off, let's talk about the ride quality, and road noise. Man, my guess we're having some dyslexia today. I'm gonna keep that in the video because that was funny. Yeah, super smooth and really well insulated cabin. So I actually just drove a full size with the inline six just before this, and so I'm actually able to give you guys some comparison impressions with both of them and kind of help you out with determining if you should get the V8 or if you should get the inline six. But initially setting off, there's not necessarily a huge feel difference, right? This is louder. You definitely do hear a little bit more engine noise with this than you do with the inline six. But when you're just kind of slightly getting into the throttle, that has a lot of low end torque because it's turbocharged. And this has a lot of torque because it's supercharged and gets up and moves. I will say, this obviously has more power and more torque. This, I don't have to get on the throttle as much as the inline six. The inline six, I was kind of going just under 3,000 RPMs. This just barely over 2,000 RPMs. So this kind of just gives you a little bit more of that luxury experience because you're just barely getting into the throttle at all, and you're shifting at very low RPMs. And so that's definitely a big positive. Seat comfort's great. I love the bolstering with these seats, and that's just all of the Range Rovers. They've nailed it from a seat perspective. The leather's really soft and comfortable, but it's also supportive, and the bolsters are really soft too. And so it just, I don't know, it's a nice experience. The one thing I'm sad about is the inline six version I drove had massage seats. This one does not, so I I don't get massaged while I'm reviewing the car. First world problems, right? But yeah, that's kind of like the initial impressions. So we are going to be getting our acceleration here with the full size. Oh, this thing is peppy. Yeah, here's the deal. This is just so much quicker compared to the inline six. Like, it's a substantial difference. It really is. This is just so much like punchier. Yeah, it's a big difference. It really is a big difference. Man, I have literally seen, and this is a side point, doesn't have to do with the review at all. I have literally seen 7 cops filming this video just around the block. Like, I don't know what's happening, but something's happening. But yeah, back to the car review. Yeah, it's a huge difference. Let's sum things up. So first off, exterior wise, I love the combination on this one. Interior wise, this is really nice. I guess I was a little bit spoiled with that inline six version because that one had a couple features this one doesn't, like massaging seats, for example. I thought that was definitely a nice thing. So yeah, I'm gonna complain about it because I can, right? It's a $100,000 Range Rover. I can do that. But should you get the inline six or should you get the V8? I'm gonna say V8. Here's why. The fuel economy difference is not that big. Like, basically, reading the window stickers with the EPA ratings, it sounds like you're probably going to get about 2 miles per gallon difference, right? This is going to get 2 miles per gallon less than the inline six, which if you can afford a $100,000 vehicle, you can probably afford the 2 miles per gallon more, or sorry, less, rather. Got my words mixed up there. The acceleration though is so much different. So like just around town when you're just lightly getting the throttle, this you don't have to get into it as deep, and that makes a huge difference with the luxury experience. And then also when you actually need to get on it, this thing just hauls. It sounds good, it feels right. This is the engine I would get. If I were to get a full size, I would shell out the extra dough and I would go for the 5-liter V8 over the inline six. Obviously, right, if it doesn't fit within budget, the inline six is a great powertrain. This is just better. Now let's get some things up for a video on this 2022 full-sized Land Rover Range Rover. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Land Rover here in downtown Salt Lake for giving me some time with this Range Rover. Check out the inventory in the description down below. I'll see you guys.